He's asking for help.
It was an ordinary noon at St. Helene Medical Center. Sunlight poured through the glass doors, scattering across the polished floor. Nurses chatted, patients waited, machines hummed. Then, without warning, the automatic doors slid open again. And a full-grown lion stepped inside. Gasps echoed through the lobby. A guard froze mid-step. The creature's golden mane shimmered in the light, his eyes deep and weary. Between his jaws, he held a black plastic bag, old and damp. For a second, no one dared move. Then someone shouted, "Get back!" But the lion didn't roar. He didn't lunge. He simply walked forward, slow and heavy, the bag swaying with each breath. When he reached the center of the room, he paused, and everyone saw the bag twitch. Something inside was moving. 3 years earlier, this same lion had been found near the forest edge, half dead, tangled in wire, his paw bleeding. A young wildlife doctor named Dr. Clara Bennett had treated him right here in this very hospital. She called him Ashen, for the color of his eyes, pale and smoky like morning mist. When he healed, she released him back into the wild. He turned once as if memorizing her face, then disappeared into the trees. She never saw him again. Until now. That morning, far beyond the town, Ashen had wandered near the roadside searching for shade. He caught a faint sound, a whimper. He followed it to a torn trash bag lying among weeds. The smell wasn't of decay. It was warm, alive, trembling. Inside was a tiny rabbit, barely breathing, coated in dirt and gluey waste, its body twitching weakly. Ashen sniffed it. Then, against every instinct his kind was born with, he carefully took the bag in his jaws and began the long walk toward the only place he remembered where kindness once lived. Now, under the white daylight of noon, the king of the wild stood inside a human building. The security alarm beeped once. Nurses whispered. Then Dr. Clara appeared at the far end of the hall. She stopped cold. "Ashen," she whispered. The lion lifted his head toward her, and then, to everyone's disbelief, he did something no animal was ever taught to do. He stood upright on his hind legs, tall, trembling, almost human, and raised his front paws together, pressing them against his chest as if begging. His eyes locked on Clara's, wide and pleading. His chest rose with a quiet, shuddering breath. Gasps filled the room. One nurse whispered, "He's asking for help." Clara slowly approached. The lion's paws shook as he held them up. He lowered his head and gently placed the black bag at her feet. She knelt, heart pounding, and peeled the bag open. Inside lay the rabbit. Cold, filthy, its heartbeat faint, but still there. "It's alive!" she cried. Instantly the staff rushed forward, warm towels, oxygen, glucose. Clara carried the little creature away. When she turned back, Ashen was still there, watching through the glass window, eyes glistening in the light. "You saved her," she said softly. The lion slowly lowered himself, dropped back on all fours, and gave one deep exhale, as if releasing all the fear, hunger, and pain of his world. Then, without another sound, he turned and walked toward the sunlight. His shadow stretched long and calm across the white floor. A week later, the rabbit, now called Hope, was fully recovered. She nibbled clover leaves in a small pen outside the hospital garden. Clara stood nearby, her eyes searching the distant field. And there, beneath the same bright sky, a familiar figure waited, ashen, strong, and silent, standing at the edge of the grass. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Clara opened the pen gate and whispered, "You can go home now." The rabbit hopped into the sunlight, free again. The lion watched, then turned toward the horizon, his mane glowing like molten gold. The voiceover faded. That day, the king of beasts bowed before life itself, not in defeat, but in mercy. Because even under the brightest sun, compassion can still perform miracles.